Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, 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 your man. God of Dots, man. We are back. It's been a minute since I've done a Freestyle Friday show, but I'm here. And I said I'm starting a little early, so make sure I got my stuff ready as far as my clips are concerned. Give me a sec, y'all. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. No, I don't want to do that. Sorry, little technical stuff here. I've got to change things around. Give me a sec. Oh, hell, ain't nobody here yet, so let me try this. Okay, I don't like how that look. Okay. All right. All right, so let me go ahead and just get into the material. If I can get myself on out of here because I got another show to do anyway. If you catch the replay, catch the replay. If not, it is what it is. I should be showing live. I think so. But anyway, tonight's show is, about the NFL and the DEI. It's two separate videos I want to kind of review. I kind of start the conversation off, and I want to kind of give my thoughts on it. And, we'll kind of go from there. The first one is, matter of fact, I want to make sure I'm on the senior vice presidents in the NFL talking about diversifying the coaching ranks. We talked a lot about that on this show when we're talking about the Rooney Rule, stuff like that to be put in place to increase minorities, aka Black presence on the sidelines, and how they're going to go about doing that. But this is one of the senior vice presidents on the NFL on a talk show not too long ago making these statements. This is all in fair use, commentary purposes, review purposes. So let's go.
Change throughout the leagues. Please welcome in senior vice president. Oh, I love that. Let's bring in somebody that can help us kind of work through this. Our next guest plays a major role in helping to diversify the NFL and bring change throughout the leagues. Please welcome in senior vice president, chief diversity and inclusion officer, Jonathan Bean. Hey. Welcome to the table.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Jason.
Oh, appreciate having you. Jonathan, the Rooney Rule was implemented in 2003 to help increase the number of minority head coaches and GMs in the league. 20 years later, we've expanded the rule. We've added changes to further create ways to diversify the coaching ranks. However, the league still only has a handful of minority head coaches. Jonathan, what are the programs that you oversee, and what are you doing to make a change in that dynamic?
Yeah, Jason, I mean, we certainly need to do a much better job as it pertains to having more head coaches of color in the league. And that is a huge priority for the organization. It's a huge priority for club membership, the commissioner, and overall. So that is something we got to do a much better job of. But I would say even before that, if we look over the last 3 years, we've made tremendous progress in terms of the number of people of color who are general managers. We're at the highest number that we've ever had at 9. We have 7 presidents of color, which is the highest we've ever had. We feel really good about that. At the beginning of training camp, we had 15 women that were coaching part of the team at the clubs. Again, that's the highest number we've had. We feel really good about. Six of those women are full-time. So we are making progress. We're also making some good progress at the coordinator position, especially defensive coordinator. But really, when it comes to head coach, we got to do a much better job. So what programs are we doing? We're kind of taking a two-prong approach to that. One is we want to make sure that we're creating a strong pipeline for the future. So there's always that great talent. We have a great pipeline right now, but we also want to make sure we have one for the future. So with that, we have the offensive assistant resolution, where every club has a person of color and or woman in a offensive assistant position in order for them to develop and create a stronger pipeline on the offensive side of the ball, because the majority of the head coaches that are being hired are on that side of the ball over the last 10 years. Every club has participated in that, and we have someone in place at all 32 clubs. The other thing that we want to make sure that we're doing as well is we also have the Women's Forum. Women's Forum, which is happening in the Combine, first time it's in person in 3 years. That is another way to get more women into the league. But so those are things that are dealing with the future and developing a pipeline. Then when we talk about what's going on with all the talent that we have today, we have our accelerator program, which we launched in May of this year. We also had the front office accelerator program in December, where each club nominated someone from the coaching side and also the front office side who happens to be diverse, woman or person of color, to be a part of the program. And these are the best, some of the best that we have in front office and coaching, and we feel really good about that. And so those are the programs that we're really focusing on. We have the QB Summit, we have the GM Forum as well, but we're hoping all of that together will help us move forward.
Jonathan, the progress in diversifying the coaching staffs sounds great. You say the numbers are highest in certain categories, women, the coordinator positions. How do you set those standards, and what are some of the long-term goals in terms of the numbers that you hope to accomplish over the coming years?
Yeah, for us, we want continual improvement. Continual improvement is absolutely critical. I mean, we don't see this as we have to have success in this cycle and then we're good. This is something where we want to build upon what we've been doing season after season. And with that, we want to double down on the things that we're doing, in particular with the accelerator program and other programming. But also, as you know, we've made a great deal of changes to the Rooney Rule, making sure that instead of one external diverse candidate, you have to interview two. We wanted to slow that we included all women in the definition of minority with the Rooney Rule, and we've also added QB coach to that. In addition to that, we've made changes to the anti-tampering policy. So with that, we want to slow down the hiring process to make sure that clubs are taking their time to make sure that they are hiring the best person. And the other thing is we want to make sure that we're providing all the resources necessary in order for a club to be able to make the best possible decision. How are we doing that? Every club that is looking for a general manager or a head coach now has to go through inclusive hiring training, every single one. So that has happened. All the clubs that are looking for a head coach or GM, we've already filled those roles. They went through, all key decision makers went through that. We also have a best practice hiring guide, which we put together this year, and we disseminated to the clubs in December. So that's yet another resource. We have the database, which has 5,200 plus profiles of coaches and also front office folks in college and in the pro ranks that clubs can take a look at when they're looking for talent, and making sure that they're looking at it broadly. We're also making sure that we are providing specific development opportunities for our best coaches and front office executives as well, whether it's the Stanford League of League programs, the Accelerator program, the QB Summit, and the GM Forum. We are just continuing to broaden that with the hope that this will make sure that everyone is in the right place to make sure that we have an equitable process. And what's important is it's not just about the candidates. This is about making sure that we are providing resources for the clubs, for the club owners, and for the club executives. This is very much focused on them. They are as much participants in this process as the candidates themselves. So we want to make sure that we are working both ends to make sure that the process is equitable and that we have the pipeline that's the strongest it can be, and that really the league represents our fan base.
Jonathan, I love that. So many programs and so many things that you guys are doing. And one of the things I think you ended with, which you talked about, that it includes everybody. It's just not the candidates. It includes the owners and everybody else that is involved in the process. All of us here at the table love to hear about this and see the work that's being done. Want to congratulate you and also encourage you to continue to do what you're doing to make a change and an impact. Appreciate you coming through the table this morning.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Yeah.
you,
See
Jonathan. Appreciate you,
Jonathan.
man.
All right, back on over here. Yeah, what you heard there was clip of Senior Vice President Jonathan Bean talking about um, diversity and inclusion in regards to NFL hiring practices and positions. My takeaways from this, it sounds good on paper to have owners, presidents, decision makers who are really at the end of the day make the hirings and the firings of these jobs have to go through inclusion training. It sounds good. It sounds good to put all that kind of stuff in place. You heard him talking about revamping the Rooney Rule, including women more so into the hiring practices and that kind of stuff. It sounds good on paper. And now when I say on paper, because at the end of the day, you can have all of this stuff in place. The Rooney Rule has been in place, as you heard, since I want to say 2003, 2004 season. It has been in place for about 20 plus years, but we still, and this is just my personal opinion, still have not seen any significant changes as far as the actual hiring practices of these NFL owners. And at the end of the day, the NFL owners are the ones that make, the final decision on who gets hired, who gets fired. So I don't know what you can really put in place to, I was, one of those people that were talking about having mandatory quotas or limits to how many, minorities get, certain positions. As you heard him say, you've seen an increase in general manager positions being filled by African Americans. You've seen increase in upper management, such as presidents of team presidents. You've seen an increase there, but I think for the visual sake for me, let me see more of an increase in those jobs being filled by African Americans and other minority groups on the sidelines. Like, no one cares who the general manager is. No one knows who a lot of these general managers are. Couldn't pick them out of a lineup unless you're like a diehard fan of your team. You don't really know who the team president is, who's over player operations, none of that stuff. You know who the players are, you know who the head coach is, and you know who the owner is. And it's kind of like for the visibility factor, I think that should be more of a focus of the NFL than having the inclusion training, which is training. At the end of the day, it's training. It doesn't come with any caveats. Once you complete this training, 35% of your managerial staff has to be, African American. And I hate having to, use the word quota, because it kind of brings me back to what we're talking about, forcing. But at this point, when you have stuff that's in place, you heard him talk about all the stuff they have in place to increase the numbers of minorities in those positions. If it doesn't come with any kind of strict guidelines, strict quotas, it's just talk. At the end of the day, it's just talk. You can have all the training you want. You can have all the boards, committees, and stuff, and Rooney rules put in place. But if you don't have anybody, if it's not something that is enforced on the owner, and at the end of the day, that's where all the power lies in the NFL. Not the commissioner. It's not these senior vice presidents and all that. All of these guys, at the end of the day, work for the owners. The owners are the ones that make the decisions. The owners are the ones that make the rules and regulations and all of that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, everyone in the NFL, from the commissioner on down, answers to the owners. And unless you have something in place to where owners are mandated to have a certain percentage of their managerial staff, from the coaching, from general manager positions to player personnel, unless you have something mandated that they have to have X amount of minority staff, I don't see it getting any better. I don't see the NFL really taking it that serious. And sadly, it's talk. It's like I said, it sounds good on paper when you listen to them talk. You can feel inspired. It's like, oh yeah, the NFL is really doing something, because when you're throwing out a lot of stuff that you put in place, programs, we got a database. XYZ. And if that was the case, and if you've been listening to the show, I've been talking about excuse me, situation dealing with Eric Bieniemy, former offensive coordinator of Kansas City Chiefs, was the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders this past season, who was let go after 1 year in Washington, who is now the offensive coordinator out there in UCLA. How was this guy, who was the offensive coordinator for 2 Super Bowl championships, not get seriously considered for a head coaching position in the NFL, when we're seeing guys that are special team coaches getting jobs, when you're seeing guys that who have not had the level of success as a coordinator getting jobs in certain positions? Why is Eric Bieniemy out of the NFL? Why is Eric Bieniemy, a 2-time Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator, who was the offensive coordinator for one of the best offenses we've seen over the past 20 years? How is this guy not really seriously get considered for a head coaching job? Is the question I keep coming back to when I hear about the Rooney Rule and all this diversity talk and databases and inclusion training. It sounds nice. Until you have to actually put some actions behind the words. You can have all the pamphlets you want. You can do all the training you want. And I think this, goes back when we were talking about DEI and, how important that is to have in systems to not necessarily protect minority interests, but to encourage minorities to get certain positions, certain jobs, and whatnot. When we're talking about the NFL, it is another video I do want to review before I get up out of here. Let me get that queued up. Give me a second. I did want to have commentary on this particular video. For those who don't know who the gentleman on your screen is, this is Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker making a commencement speech at a college, and I'll let it kind of play out so you can kind of hear what was said, and we'll talk about it after the video.
Fiasco, and how you missed out on so many milestones the rest of us older people have taken for granted. While COVID might have played a large role throughout your formative years, it is not unique. Bad policies and poor leadership have negatively impacted major life issues. Things like abortion, IVF, surrogacy, euthanasia, as well as a growing support for degenerate cultural values in media, all stem from the pervasiveness of disorder. Our own nation is led by a man who publicly and proudly proclaims his Catholic faith, but at the same time is delusional enough to make the sign of the cross during a pro-abortion rally. He has been so vocal in his support for the murder of innocent babies that I'm sure to many people, it appears that you can be both Catholic and pro-choice. He is not alone. From the man behind the COVID lockdowns to the people pushing dangerous gender ideologies onto the youth of America, they all have a glaring thing in common. They are Catholic. This is an important reminder that being Catholic alone doesn't cut it. These are the sorts of things we are told in polite society to not bring up. The difficult and unpleasant things. But if we are going to be men and women for this time in history, we need to stop pretending that the Church of Nice is a winning proposition. We must always speak and act in charity, but never mistake charity for cowardice. It is safe to say that over the past few years, I've gained quite the reputation for speaking my mind. I never envisioned myself nor wanted to have this sort of a platform, but God has given it to me, so I have no other choice but to embrace it and preach more hard truths about accepting your lane and staying in it. As members of the church founded by Jesus Christ, it is our duty and ultimately privilege to be authentically and unapologetically Catholic. Don't be mistaken, even within the church, people in polite Catholic circles will try to persuade you to remain silent. There even was an award-winning film called Silence, made by a fellow Catholic, wherein one of the main characters, a Jesuit priest, abandoned the church and as an apostate, when he died, is seen grasping a crucifix, quiet and unknown to anyone but God. As a friend of Benedictine College, His Excellency Bishop Robert Barron said in his review of the film, it was exactly what the cultural elite want to see in Christianity: private, hidden away, and harmless. Our Catholic faith has always been countercultural. Our Lord, along with countless followers, were all put to death for their adherence to her teachings. The world around us says that we should keep our beliefs to ourselves whenever they go against the tyranny of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We fear speaking truth because now, unfortunately, truth is in the minority. Congress just passed a bill where stating something as basic as the biblical teaching of who killed Jesus could land you in jail. But make no mistake, before we even attempt to fix any of the issues plaguing society, we must first get our own house in order, and it starts with our leaders.
All right, I'm back. Let me take this down off the screen. Let me come back over here. Hey, Keep. Yeah, Keep. This one of them shows. One of them shows. Ain't gonna be up here too much longer. It's just been me up here doing little old me. I see people busy elsewhere, but it's fine. I wanted to play that clip because for Keep, that was Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker, making a commencement speech at Benedict College, and he's gotten a lot of blowback, especially from the NFL. The NFL has come out and released a statement in denouncing the things he was saying in his commencement speech. They're showing that they don't support what he had to say, even though, for me, just listening to it, it was a lot of truth being said in that entire commencement speech that he did give. But I find it interesting that him speaking his mind, he wasn't using salacious rhetoric, he wasn't using inflammatory rhetoric, just stating facts from his point of view, and which a lot of people agreed with. The NFL has come down so hard on him, and just so, like you said, it's about the NFL and the DEI, and they've come out and said his comments and his commentary doesn't represent the NFL's views on DEI. I'm pretty sure somebody has sat him down and talked to him about, what to say. But here's the kicker behind it. Here's the kicker, and I've seen this a lot on Twitter in regards to the situation, because I've seen a lot of people more than the other side come out in support of what he had to say, and admonishing the NFL for taking the stance that they did. He's not harming anybody. He's entirely entitled to his view. Like I said, it wasn't inflammatory commentary that he was given in the speech, but the NFL has come down real hard on him about it. They've released statements. But on Twitter, you see a lot of people supporting what he had to say, because it's a lot of truth in that. And too often than not, we want our athletes, because of the platform that they can command. Excuse me. His opinion, that's his opinion, but he's entitled to it. I like it, and I'm gonna tell you why I like it, Keeper. Too often than not, when you have people like this who have platforms, and when I'm talking about people, I'm talking about athletes, entertainers, people who have platforms to reach a large audience of people. Too often you have them get up there and give I like to call it scripted responses in regards to situations that they honestly have an opinion on, but feel too afraid to come out and say that opinion in fear of being slapped on the wrist by their employer / the NFL and all that kind of stuff. I like it. I think we need to see more of it. Now, do I agree with everything that comes out of everybody's mouth? No. But I think if you have a platform like that, you should feel empowered to get up there and make whatever kind of statements that you want to make, and just speak your truth. Speak your truth. I believe in that's my purpose at times. When I get up on the microphones, just give my point of view. This is my platform. However big, however small it is, this is my way of speaking my truth and getting that out. But the funny thing is with this whole situation, his jersey sales have gone up. Now, mind you, this is a kicker, special teams guy. You don't really hear, if you're a fan, you don't really hear about them unless they make a mistake or a game-winning field goal or something of that nature. Other than that, they're just guys. Couldn't pick him out of a lineup. I know him because he's a Pro Bowler, but I couldn't have, he could have walked by me today and I wouldn't have picked him up just like that. It's not like he's Patrick Mahomes, but his jersey sales went up. I want to say his, and you have a lot of people from, and I think this is going to be, this conversation piece is going to be really used in the political circle. That's kind of what Freestyle Friday shows are for, kind of like a mix between sports and everyday life. But I think his speech, I think he's going to get, it's going to be really used on the Republican side of things to get the talking points out that they want to drive home. And here's a guy, like I said, has a platform. It's made national news. This is, they was talking about this on all the sports channels, when he did this speech, and the reaction to it. This is going to be a political tool. It's a lot of political points to take out of this. And, I don't want to get into the politics too heavy over here. I'm just going to kind of keep my commentary short on that because I might say that for another show in another space at another time and another day. But yeah, if you missed the first part of the show, go check out the first part of the show. We was listening to Senior Vice President Jonathan Bean talking about pretty much inclusion, DEI, diversity, equality, and inclusion in regards to the NFL and some of their hiring practices. It sounds good. Like I said, it's a lot of stuff that he said. It sounds good having a database of, all the potential candidates for coaching positions, having people in management and decision-making positions, have inclusion training. It sounds good. But, at the end of the day, to me, it's a lot of word salad because unless you have something that's actionable, it sounds, you could tell me we're going to have, we're going to expand the Rooney Rule to, instead of 2 minorities, you're going to have to interview 5. Well, at the end of the day, the owner still makes the decision on who he wants to hire. And too often than not, if you are, a fan of especially the NFL, they're going to hire who they want to hire, despite whatever their qualifications may be, despite what their track record is. At the end of the day, the owner is going to hire whoever he wants to hire. It doesn't matter how many minorities, how many black people the guy could have won a Super Bowl. I'm looking at talking about Eric Bieniemy, former offensive coordinator for the Chiefs and the Commanders, 2-time Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator. Cannot get a serious look for a head coaching job. Eventually had to go to UCLA to be offensive coordinator this upcoming season. Resume be damn. They'll hire some dude off the street. They'll hire a dude that doesn't have the track record of leading like that and being successful in whatever specialty they have, whether it be defense, offense, or special teams. I'm looking at head coach for the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. His track record is what? When you compare on paper to Eric Bieniemy, it don't match up. It just don't match up. Well, we've seen special team coaches, get jobs, head coaching jobs over more qualified minority or black candidates. So unless you have something that is concrete, something that is actionable, something that is, and I hate to say mandatory, I hate to kind of say it like that, but you can have all the training and stuff you want. You can do all of the interviewing you want, but at the end of the day, unless you have some actionable in place where they have to hire a certain amount of minorities in certain positions, you're not going to see any changes on that level. You're just not. And I think the NFL will, me personally, I don't think the NFL will ever get to that point because at the end of the day, for the commissioner on down, these people you think are in authority positions, the vice president, senior vice president of this and yada, 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 I'm the commissioner. They all answer to the owners. They all answer to the owners. And, as long as them 32 teams are owned by, the good old boy system, they're going to still do good old boy things. So I don't see it changing anytime soon. Appreciate everybody. If you catch this on the replay, appreciate you for taking the time to listen to little old me on my channel. You got to get ready for, some nonsense to do in the other space. I did want to kind of drop this for those that are listening, might catch this on the replay. You might be seeing more of me You didn't get the notification. It's okay, Miss Bird. I know you'll catch the replay. But you might be seeing more of me. I'm in the talks right now with another content creator to, you know, kind of work through. Brother Episode Days, what's going on? Work through. We're kind of talking about doing a show together. It'll be like twice a week and stuff like that. But we're kind of working on the particulars of that. Yeah, I'm expanding my horizons. Of course, I got the show on Saturday with the homie. And enjoy doing that. Make sure y'all tune in for that. Tomorrow is going to be a very, very good show. We're going to be talking about a lot of recent events. I don't want to say it's going to be traumatic, but it's, we got to talk about the good and the bad sometimes. So we'll be doing that. But yeah, working on something like a morning type show with another content creator. And it'll be kind of different for me. And it'd probably be different for them too, because we're not going to be, I don't want to give all the details away, but it's like I said, it's going to be different. No, I will not be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do no live stream. No, I ain't doing that. But we are kind of working through some details, and there may be something like that in the works in regards to that. Always trying to add a little something to my bucket to do. But y'all know me. So I appreciate if you take the time, you catch the replay. I think it'll be, I may revisit this at a future time, subject matter at a future time. Who knows? But I said I was gonna give y'all a show. I gave you a show. Let me get my mindset for the nonsense. Let me get my mindset for the nine. I'm a bit rusty over there. We got a lot of things to talk about, and I might have to hurt a couple people's feelings, but oh well. But anyway, we will be back on Tuesday. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming. Unless something changes, we'll be back to that. I want to catch me a little bit of the game before I have to get into the nonsense. But once again, thank you as always. And you offered the phrase that pays over here. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.